Welcome to episode 62 of Cougs on Cougs. This is Jess.
Hello.
I'm Mary. Spring ball wraps up this week. We have we kind of have a basketball void in our life, but you know what? March Madness is kind of filling it for me.
It's been kind of great. Those Sweet 16 games, Elite 8 games.
They were so good.
Classics.
Yeah. But spring football is kind of going to be our focus. Talk of the town is football heavy. It's just that kind of week. We're still I think 150 something days out from Portland State, but we will take what we can get, right?
Yes, we will. Every little bit of it. Let's start with our quote of the week.
Yes.
Let's see if any of you know this one. The secret of change is to focus all your energy, not fighting the old, but on building the new. That is from Socrates. That's an old one. That's a throwback. It's good, especially, for a team like basketball that's had maybe a not so great season. Can't focus on, the old stuff that happened. You got to focus on building the new.
Especially when you're losing a giant piece of yourself, which we will also get to.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yes. But let's start with a three things segment. So that's the format we decided to use to break down the spring game. These are the three things that I kind of took away and went over with Jess here. So there's obviously more than three things, but we tried to narrow it down to the kind of three biggest takeaways. Mm-hmm. And the first one we had to go with, the name that you were hearing everywhere after the spring game, was Matt Bushman.
Yep, that was the name I kept seeing over and over.
And you're like, who?
Yeah. Who? What?
So, he is a freshman tight end, and he looked great in the spring game. Lots of receptions. He was targeted a lot. We know tight end play is something they really want to develop. He's a baseball player. He's a ginger, interestingly enough. He sure is. Yeah. And he's very soft-spoken. I will say he was compared to the likes of Dennis Pitta and Chad Lewis throughout the spring game, which I would recommend reserving judgment.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure for a brand new freshman. I mean, in a spring game. But
yeah.
Hey, it's exciting, though, that one of the biggest things to come out of the spring game is a tight end.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know if we saw Hunter Marshall and Tanner Baldry, but they're both very good tight ends as well. Obviously, it's a spring game, so you see more of your second and thirds than you do of your first. So that's why you have to take what you see with a grain of salt. So who knows how many reps Matt Bushman will actually get in the season, but that's the point of the spring game, is to make it seem like you have earned those reps, and Matt Bushman definitely did that.
Second thing we heard about were quarterbacks. Now, it sounded, from what I heard, it was raining and all of that, but it sounded like Tanner was having some struggles there. But I personally probably would chalk that up to, it's the spring game, you've got fans there, why not just throw it up?
Yeah.
Which is probably what he was doing, is my guess.
Yes, he threw a few interceptions. But even Tanner said that he felt like he didn't look that great at first, but that it kind of leveled out. The thing is, we didn't see all that much of Tanner, and I think the more important thing is that Ty Detmer has said since that Tanner is completing 77% and 85% of his passes in drills and in their scrimmages that we haven't seen. So don't be discouraged. Tanner's going to be fine. Like we said, so you see your seconds and you see your thirds, and the second string quarterback position is still, for all intents and purposes, up for grabs. And we got to see Cody Wilstead, who is out of St. George and back from his mission for the first time. People have been really excited about that. Really good-looking prospect, and he looked great. Bo looked fine. Bo didn't do anything super flashy. Cody did have a 65-yard reception to Matt Bushman, which, of course, BYU fans went crazy for. Yeah. And he's got himself a little bandwagon. So another player that took this as an opportunity to earn reps in games to show the coaches that he deserves them in, and I think he did that.
Competition brings out the best in everyone, right?
The third thing is defense. Defense looked great. They had a few interceptions, and like we said, it was raining, so it's kind of easier for defense to look great. It's kind of easier to do your job when you don't have the ball in your hands when it's raining, right?
Plus, how many returners do you have on defense? How many guys do you know are going to be starters and are going to be stars? A lot.
And I think that really showed through. There's a lot of confidence on the field in defense. There were a lot of sacks. That was another thing with Tanner, is that, Fred was getting a lot of quote-unquote sacks that weren't really sacks. Thankfully, no one touched Tanner. Shout out to everybody for not losing your cool and tackling him. But yeah, when you heard the interviews from Fred and from Butch and from the coaches, everyone just seems there really is a renewed energy for defense, and I feel like they think that, last year was kind of just a little teaser, and that this year it's going to be really lockdown. That's our 3 big takeaways from the spring game. Feel free to tweet us yours. And
I think there's 2 more practices, Wednesday,
so.
Friday, and then nothing until August. So
prepare yourself for the dead period.
Yeah, we'll be here to keep you entertained. Don't worry. Okay, so while I was in New Orleans this week, I got off the plane to all these text messages from Mary panicking about Eric, and I didn't know why. And I was very scared. Then I found out it was because he had said that he was going to declare for the draft and, you know, go through that whole process, but he wasn't hiring an agent, so that's good. That means he could come back to BYU if he wants, if he withdraws by a certain date. So we figured we have to talk about this. This is really, really big. Terrible.
It's huge, yes. It was too big for talk of the town.
Yeah, we had to give it its own segment. So
we have a lot of feelings.
Yeah, this has been like
we've been going through like grieving stages all week, and I know at first Jess was like, "Oh, it's fine," but then we kind of turned the tide. I never thought it was fine, for the record.
Oh no, I went through the like full 5 stages.
She did.
I'm not sure I'm quite through the last one yet.
We're cycling.
Yeah. Okay, so 2-minute drill here. So we are going to split this up. I'm going to talk for a minute about why this is bad, terrible news that he's leaving.
For BYU.
For BYU. Yeah, Mary's going to talk about why it's maybe not so bad.
Devil's advocate.
Might be a silver lining here. We'll see.
Maybe.
Okay, so
here we go.
Let's go. I get the easy position.
Start the timer.
Why is this bad for BYU? Let me count the ways. First of all, it's production. I mean, Eric Mika is your leading scorer. He was your most consistent player. He had, you know, double-digit scoring. He almost had average double-double, so he's got all those rebounds to deal with. He had blocks. He was your best defender in the post. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this is really bad. But even beyond that, there's some intangible reasons, like the fact that he was basically your vocal leader on the team, right? He should have been your captain this last year.
He lost too, yeah.
Yep, he would have been your captain this year.
For sure.
He's the type of guy that keeps everything light and fun, but also knows how to work hard and knows how to get the guys focused. Yep, everybody loves Eric. I mean, he's a favorite of everybody. He's a competitor. You see that on the court. I mean, he brings that fire to every game. He steps up for big games like Gonzaga. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it's bad.
Okay. So I get to try and say why it's not the end of the world, which, let me tell you, it has taken me a while to get to this point, to the acceptance. Yeah, she's not there yet. So the first thing that I've been telling myself in my head is that BYU is a guard-centric program anyway. We tried playing inside out this year, and it kind of worked at the beginning of the year, especially when we had Kyle Davis, you know, 2 huge options down low. But it didn't work all the time. So could Eric Mika leaving be an opportunity to kind of play small ball and kind of go back to the guard-centric play that we're so good at and that Dave Rose excels at, put more of an emphasis on TJ and Nick with them returning. And also it could be an opportunity to really develop Yoli and Peyton, and just for them mentally to know that they're losing this big anchor, their center anchor, and for those 2 that we expect a lot out of, and both of them have really high ceilings, for them to step up and improve. Yeah. So that's all I got.
If you think some of the best players at BYU of all time, they're almost all guards.
Yeah.
You know, it's very rare that you have a big man who's a star like Eric Mika.
Right.
Which, you know, a lot has to do with the style of play. So you may be right. There could be some positives. We may, you know, improve in some areas with the smaller lineup. Sure. Let me give you my take on this real quick. So Eric Mika did an interview on BYU Sports Nation yesterday, which I watched. And I don't know if you watched his press conference as well.
I just listened.
So he's kind of given his reasons for why he's doing this and all that. One of the things he's saying about why, you know, what do you have to hear from teams to for sure go or to come back to BYU, all that.
Yeah, because what we should say is that him not hiring an agent, that does mean he can come back. And this isn't the first time a BYU player has done this. Jimmer did it, Lee Kumar did it, Jonathan Tavnari did it. It's a great opportunity to get feedback, and a great many people, I would say, not just at BYU, do this and then have the intention of returning. So this is kind of our take there.
Yeah, but I feel like with Eric, it's a little bit different in the way he's answered those questions and phrased it. He has talked about, hey, growing up, especially something my dad taught me was keeping options open. You never want to close doors. And that's one that you can easily leave open just by not hiring an agent.
Totally.
But I feel like the reason he's doing this, he's been very diplomatic about his answers.
He sure has.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the scouts. I think it has everything to do with the fans. And here's why. I think it's really hard for players, especially someone like Eric, who the fans love so much and who, you know, we've all expected so much out of this Lone Peak 3 thing. And he's such a key part of that. I think it's really hard for him to be selfish and say, look, I feel like this is going to be the best thing for my family. I'm going to close the chapter here at BYU and move on. I think he's being really careful about this just in case there is a chance. But I think he also doesn't want to sort of slam the door on the face of his fans and say, yeah, I'm moving on.
Oh, yeah, that would alienate them. He doesn't want to alienate any fans.
Yeah, he doesn't. I think he cares a lot about the support and everything.
Right.
But at the same time, I think, you know, he does need to be selfish. This is the thing that he's doing for his family. He's kind of decided that... It sounds to me like he's mentally at least decided
to both of us, I think. Yeah. He is projected to go mid-second round, which is not ideal. That's not potentially worth leaving college for. But the things that I think we've heard from Eric, and that makes us kind of sold on the idea that he's kind of mentally checked out, is that it doesn't really sound like BYU is his second option or even his third option. It sounds like the G League, the D League, or playing in Europe could be options for him. So, and what we need to clarify is that from everything Eric has said, it sounds like he knows where he's at with his potential, and he knows that he has a great deal of potential, and he knows that he's at this place where he needs to kind of take the jump. I just think, I mean, the last thing that we'll say about this is that we're so happy for him, and we support him no matter what. I feel like I'm talking about like one of our children. But like,
I know, that is how it is.
This is a great move for him. It's smart. He's not getting any younger. What would staying for a year really do for him? So there's all those arguments, and it would be dumb for him to not give this a shot. If there's any chance of him going, but at the end of the day, it sucks for us, and that's where we're at.
And it would be great for the program to have someone like Eric make it in the NBA. Yeah. But at the same time, it's the total great for you, so happy for you, really sucks for us, and we're gonna have to get past it. But Eric, Mika or not, we will be excited about BYU basketball.
Yes, for sure. And you know what? Another thing I should have mentioned in my 1 minute is maybe removing the Lone Peak 3 stigma could do a lot for this team.
Yeah, it probably could.
Just saying.
Talk of the town this week, we are starting with March Madness because the Zags have made it to the Final Four.
Yes, for the first time ever.
I know, I'm really excited for them.
Me too.
They've had an amazing run, and I like Coach Few, so I'm really happy for him too.
And I like Nigel Williams-Goss, and how do you not love Karnowski? Oh my gosh.
I know. Are we going to talk about him having Coach Few jump into his arms? Oh my gosh.
Yes, Mark Few was climbing down the ladder from cutting the net down, and Chemik, sweetheart that he is, came to help him, and Mark Few literally jumped into his arms.
It was the best.
We'll link to the video. It's hard to root against them. They're super likable. We just needed to mention that Gonzaga is the first WT representative in 60 years. So their first time ever, and then first time representing, I think it was San Francisco 60 years ago.
I'm just happy for them because so many people all season were like, they're not that good.
Oh my goodness.
You know.
Truck stop conference. Yeah, they haven't played anyone.
So good job, Gonzaga.
What now?
Way to represent WCC.
Yes, keep it rolling.
Speaking of WCC.
This is amazing. We'll put up this tweet from Jeffrey Fuller, who said, with the amazing Alanis Morissette lyrics, "Isn't it ironic, don't you think? A little too ironic." BYU Athletic Director Tom Homo is the man who presented Gonzaga with the West Regional Trophy. So we've got this great picture of Tom and Mark. I said that we're just trying to keep him humble. So, you're going to the Final Four, but...
Who's that one on your record? We had to share this. Mm-hmm. We talked about a few weeks ago on the show that Jimmer and Whitney's daughter Wesley was born, and now we have her newborn pics.
So cute.
So Jimmer shared this one of him and little Wesley, which I think is adorable.
I said I think she's the same size as a basketball. She's so cute though. All that hair and the bow that's the size of her head.
It's like kind of weird a little bit when you have these players that like you adore and everything, and now they're like grown up and having kids.
It's weird. Gosh, we're all too old.
Oh my gosh.
That's the moral of the story. This is exciting. So this is from ESPN 960 Sports. Kevin Nixon was on the other day. He confirmed that Dalton will be returning home on May 12th.
Yep, he's in the Boston mission, I believe.
Yep, so we're losing Eric, but people are coming back.
I know, they always come back, unless they go to the NBA.
On to football?
Yes, football time.
Lots of football stuff.
It was Pro Day.
We have to start with Pro Day.
So we want to share this tweet from Kai Nakua, which was pretty cool. He tweeted out, "Every day I was reminded," with this picture, and it shows his little reminders. And one of them, so the first one says, "Envision the future you desire." Every day he sees that. And the next one says 4.50. And guess what he ran at a Pro Day?
Literally a 4.5.
Literally 4.50.
And, Jess and I are huge proponents of the mental aspect of the game, whether it be football or basketball. That's pretty good. I mean...
That is proof.
You just have to... you don't just have to envision the future you want. You have to work for it, but it totally helps. And it apparently worked because Kai, honestly, he had a great pro day. I would say that he was probably the top standout, and Taysom was not far behind him. This is from Stephen Carrick, who said that he finished among the top 7 NFL combine. Like, if he would have been in the combine, he would have finished among the top 7 in every category except bench. So he said production and athleticism can't be ignored.
We love our moms,
yes,
our players,
yes.
So we had to share this. This is from Brandon Gurney. Tweet out 2 of my favorite BYU moms talking after their son's big days. So this is Mama Nakua and then, of course, Nicole Williams.
Can we just talk about their outfits?
Yes.
Jamal's mom Nicole always had an exceptional outfit for every game. All these decked out, bedazzled, some with Jamal's face, some with just his number on the back. But Mama Nakua got in on the action as well.
I know, she repped.
That is Kai on her shirt.
Yep.
This is from Mitch Harper, and he said that 28 of the 32 NFL teams were represented at Pro Day, which is a pretty dang good showing.
And I heard him say on Criddle's show that there were 2 Patriot scouts there. And that they were possibly specifically there for Harvey Unga. And then, of course, Sean Walker tweeted out a picture of all of the participants together. So they're all there in their little group.
Cool gear.
That competed, yeah. So
put their shirts back on.
Yeah, they got some sweet gear just for that.
This is from ESPN 960 Sports. So they had Harvey Unga on. They were talking with him about his training for, for the NFL.
This is really good.
And Harvey said, the hardest thing for me is homemade chocolate chip cookies, and we just had to throw that in there because it is so #relatable.
That's my weakness.
When I think if it's not your weakness, we can't be friends.
Seriously. Dude, those are the best. Hey, way to go, Harvey.
We'll eat some for you in solidarity.
The Patriots tweeted out on his actual birthday this time, which was March 26th, happy birthday to Kyle Van Noy.
Why is it funny? Because who got it wrong last year?
Oh, the Lions did. It was bad. And he was like, it's not my birthday.
We did want to share this. So Wayne Kirby, who transferred to BYU from Oregon, he sent out this really sweet message, which is just great. I mean, I don't know if they put him up to it, but it seemed really organic. And what did he say? So he said, to all the recruits, people, coaches, etc. out there, the BYU football family here loves everyone. BYU fits everyone, whether you're black, white, brown, etc. We as players will love and care for you, but the coaches is what really matters. And I haven't met anyone more loving, caring, and kind-hearted as Kalani and the rest of our staff. And he goes on, and he's just talking to the recruits and really backing up the coaching staff and the program. And
I was saying, if you're questioning whether that's the right place for you, he's like, come, it's gonna be a good fit. I can't believe we're talking about this.
We have to, though.
We have to. So Squally Canada tweeted out this last week, I bring up the earth is flat in public speaking class, and some of these answers really got me thinking, what if the earth really is flat?
We have a lot of questions. We just have a lot of questions.
I'm not even sure where to go with this.
It's his public speaking class, so maybe the assignment was like you have to defend something that like makes no sense, and maybe he was just so good at his public speaking that it got him thinking. We're not sure if he was serious, if he was kidding, but we just needed to point out we have a potential flat earther among us.
Oh gosh. Elisa Tuiaki was on Criddle Show on ESPN 960, and says, actually, no, I take it back. I think this was talking to Greg Wrubell.
Yeah, I think so too.
Before the spring game. And Ben was tweeting it out. So Coach Tuiaki admits that he hovered around Steve Kaufusi a little too much last year. I think he actually said that backward. I'm pretty sure when I was listening to it, it was that Steve Kaufusi approached Tuiaki about switching.
You think it is?
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, Ben did say it backwards. But either way, it was really interesting to find out that Elisa was I don't think he was jonesing for the job necessarily, but he like couldn't stay away.
Yeah, and I think Steve recognized that and probably just thought, hey, why don't we just switch it up? I'll let you take it over. That's your expertise, and let me work with the linebackers.
But I know we were wondering how that came about, so it was good to see that and to hear from Elisa a little bit on it. We did want to mention, so there has been a 10th spot available on the coaching staff, and we've kind of been wondering who is going to fill that, and it's looking like Zampa Hoco has been added to the BYU Football's coaching staff. Interesting to note, so he was a linebacker who played for the Texas Tech Raiders, and he has a little brother who was a 5-star recruit, has been a starter for 2 years at Texas Tech, but announced that he's transferring. So his brother,
may or may not have something to do with his brother leaving, because his brother was a grad assistant last year with that program.
That's true. So, I mean, that could be the reason he's leaving. BYU hasn't been mentioned on Braden's list per se, but obviously that could change because if he left Texas Tech because his brother was leaving, who's to say that he won't follow him.
Lastly, news from yesterday is that new FanFests were announced. So it's off season, so we get FanFests. So starting April 22nd in Las Vegas, and then we've got Houston May 6th, Davis County, Utah May 16th, and then Southern California June 3rd.
Those are so fun. Great opportunities to get to talk to everyone on the team. They're loose. They sign stuff. Like, go.
Yeah. Go meet Pat Hammond, too. I'm sure she'll be at the Vegas one.
At the Vegas one. Yep, coming up soon, next month. As for what's next, we are at that point in our season, in the show, where we don't have any football or basketball things to say what's next. There are no football or basketball things coming up. So we will tell you there is baseball coming up. BYU is playing at Utah at Smith's Ballpark, and that will also be on the Pac-12 network, or you can listen in on ESPN 960. That will be tonight, 6 p.m., and then they've got a home series at Miller Park coming up. They will play at 6 on Thursday and Friday, and then at noon on Saturday. Hopefully the weather will clear up. Go take in some baseball at one of the most beautiful baseball parks in college baseball.
Also, the Y Awards are this Wednesday at the Marriott Center at 7:30. They are not broadcast anymore. It used to be they'd put it on TV and you could watch it. I know, I wish they were too. But now you have to actually be at the Marriott Center at 7:30. So that's hosted by Jerem and Spencer from BYU Sports Nation.
Another fun off-season thing to do. And to, pay respects and reward the athletes for what they did. Could be your last chance to see Eric Mika and hear from him. So go.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point.
Next week, though, I think we have put in a lot of really hard work during the football and basketball season. So we're going to take a spring break next week. And we'll be back the week after with plenty of off-season chatter. Our sponsors this week, our first one is Taysom's Abs. And also his pecs. And also his biceps. All of Taysom's muscles are our sponsors. Very well-deservedly. And sorry that we are not sorry about that.
Thank you, Pro Day. Our second sponsor is, of course, the Transitive property, by which we just might be national champions this year.
Co-national champions.
Sure.
Right?
Go Zags.
Go Zags. May you always stay loyal to the white and blue. For Jess, I'm Mary. We will see you in 2 weeks.